Hello, Namaskar and good afternoon to all of you. I am Dhruvajuti Gogoi, and on behalf of the Department of History, Dakshin Kamrup College, welcome you to this webinar titled History of Pandemics and the Role of UNO in Creating Socio-Economic Stability during COVID-19 era. Friends, we all know that COVID-19 has brought a crucial change to the entire human society of the world at present. And at this critical juncture, the whole world is looking towards UNO and its allied agencies as we see to get rid of this global terror. To understand this crisis and global response, today we have invited Dr. Ritu Kumar Mishra, an official of United Nations Organization, posted in African continent at present. Hope we will be enriched enough today by his words in this matter. But before going to the main technical session, I would like to request our Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Nobojyoti Das, to formally inaugurate today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. It's a distinct privilege to extend a hearty welcome to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Ritu Kumar Mishra, respected participant, dear coordinator of IQAC and HOD of the Department of History, Dakshin Kamrup College, and my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure that the Department of History has organized this international webinar in the collaboration with IQAC of our college. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Madhuri Saikia, head of the Department of History of our college, to deliver her welcome address. Over to you, Dr. Saikia.
To discuss these various issues, the coordinator of today's webinar, Dhruvajuti Gogoi, and other faculties of the department have worked hard on the topic and invited Dr. Ritu Kumar Mishra, who is at present working as an international civil servant in the United Nations Organization in Africa. Dr. Mishra is a PhD and MPhil in demography from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, and have a master's degree in geography from Delhi University. He has published many articles in national and international peer-reviewed journals. Dr. Mishra is also a recipient of the prestigious Australian Leadership Award from Melbourne University, Australia. He has worked in countries like Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Australia, and others. He is highly experienced, and we are all waiting to hear from him now. With this, I hand over the responsibility of the rest of the webinar to the coordinator. Over to Dhruvajuti Gogoi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saikia. And now, friends, I feel privileged to request Dr. Ritu Kumar Mishra, today's speaker, resource person, and of course, a good friend of mine, to deliver his speech. Over to you, Dr. Mishra. The floor is absolutely yours.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Das, Principal DK College. Thank you, Dr. Saikia, HOD History Department, and Mr. Dhruvajuti Gogoi. Thank you for the nice introduction and nice words. Already Dr. Das has explained, how the pandemic is affecting different countries, I mean, irrespective of developed or developing countries across the world. Being in United Nations, we have the privilege of getting the first-hand information from different sources. So I have been conducting actually webinars for different universities and colleges from the in different countries. So I have a small presentation. My main motive of doing this is that, even we have been tweeting continuously that misinformation is spreading faster than COVID-19 itself. We have lots of misinformation. And maybe many people are thinking that maybe this is the first time in the history that, people are suffering from a pandemic. That's not true, actually. We had, similar kind of pandemics earlier as well. And so what I will do, I'll give a brief introduction of the history only from 19th century, the major pandemics, as well as the history of coronavirus. And also I'll talk a little bit about the myths and what is true, truth, what is fact, what is fiction, We have different stories actually at present going around. And also what role UN is playing in the entire scenario. So let me share my screen. So if you don't see the screen, then please let me know. I'll try to go with you, making it easy for all of you. So I think you can see the first slide.
We are getting. Yeah, we are getting the slide. Yeah.
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me enlarge this, presentation so that. Yeah, is it clear?
Is it clear? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so as I said, we have been continuously tweeting that misinformation is spreading faster than COVID-19 itself. I'm sure that you might have gone through the news that some people, almost I think 9-10 people died in Hyderabad by consuming the sanitizer. It's all because of misinformation. And interestingly, many people, even this morning also, someone was suggesting what I need to do when I suffer from coronavirus. And I was amazed to see, So I think everybody is expert now, and it's because of the news channels actually. And news is also helping in spreading the, some of the misconception, I think, some of these personal perception, what people think. So the layout of the presentation is like this: history of pandemics. Definitely, as I said, I'll be talking some of the major pandemics which started in from 19th century onwards. Origin of coronavirus. I am sure that most of you know, but there are certain things which I think you need to know. Characteristics of the virus, why it is highly infectious, vaccine and treatment, what is available at present and what is going on, particularly for the vaccines, the clinical trials across the world. And myths, I mean, we have, as I mentioned, we have different myths. So I'll be just touching upon a few of them. And role of, what we'll be doing, what we are expecting, and what will happen actually. This is like something, this never happened in this century. You can say in last 30, 40 years. So let's start with the history of pandemics. So I am sure that all of you know about the Spanish flu, which started in 1918 and 20, just after this First World War. And in the right-hand side, you can see the picture. This was from Spain. And, in those days, I mean, the facilities were not proper. Many people died. The nutrition, almost all countries, including developing, they were suffering. And the nutrition level, I mean, definitely people don't have, food to eat. So the nutrition was really low. So there were, different regions. And an estimated 500 million people died in this Spanish flu. Followed by Spanish flu, the Asian flu, which took place in 1957-58. This also originated in China. And this was a blend of avian flu viruses. Avian is bird actually. Okay, so I think before going ahead, you might be surprised to see that most of the viruses originate in China. There is a particular region. I am sure you might have heard that saying, people say that anything which moves, Chinese can eat. I mean, so they eat actually many birds, many animals, and they keep it together. So I'll show you the Wuhan market from where it originated so that you will get a clear idea of why most of the viruses originates from China. Then the AIDS pandemic. I'm sure most of you know it started in 1981 and it spread. It started in Kenya actually when the virus jumped from monkey to human being, and still the exact host is not known. But at least for HIV/AIDS, we have ART now, antiretroviral therapy, which can control the disease like. Diabetes. So it's not a killing disease now. There are so many people I know who are living for 30, 40 years, maybe they got infected long back during this 80s, 90s, and they are still okay. But it killed many people, almost 35 million across the world. Coming next to is I'm sure that you have heard this term Ebola. This is very dangerous because it's highly infectious. When you touch the body, it's not an airborne disease. It originated in Western African countries. And then, this year also, I'm sure that it came in the news that in Central African Republic, it's called Congo. So some cases came out actually. So the fatality rate, if you see, it was very high, almost 45%, because out of 28,000 people infected, more than 11,000 died. But this was confined to Africa only, and immediately UN bodies like here, WHO took action. So it's under control. That's a good thing, but it's coming out almost every year, few cases. The next is Zika virus epidemic. So this virus is caused by a particular mosquito, which is available in Central and South African countries. That is called Aedes genus. And this is also sexually transmitted. And this affects, by the good thing is that it doesn't affect the adults, but it affects particularly, the womb, and it causes birth defects actually. So this is very dangerous. It's like, it affects the pregnant women most. And the next one is H1N1 swine flu. So this is also from swine. This is, I am sure that you know this one. I think this again emerged in 2015 after 2019. So swine flu pandemic is caused by a new strain called H1N1. This one originated in Mexico. So let me come back to coronavirus. So I'm sure that everybody knows about coronavirus. It originated in Wuhan market. There is a market called Hunan in Wuhan province, where more than 200 variety of bushmeats are available. And they keep different animals and birds together. So coronavirus are actually large family of viruses which may cause illness in animal and human beings. So this virus has 97% of strain from bat and 3% from pangolin. So in the left-hand side, the picture below, you can see in the left-hand side, it's bat. In the middle, it's, Hunan market in Wuhan. And in the right-hand side, the animal pangolin. So pangolin is the most illegally traded mammals in the world. If you look in the Google, you will understand, why it is so famous, because of the medical properties as well as their skulls. They have skulls, they fry in oil and they eat because of some medical properties actually. Pangolin is also, just for your information, telling you that in some of our states also pangolin is seen. Okay, when it started, the first coronavirus, if you look, then you will find that it first started again from China in 2002 and lasted till 2004. But the death rate was not, death was not much, but the fatality rate, test fatality rate is the death rate, was very high. So, as compared to this one, it was like 9%. So, what happened? After this, again, coronavirus, it emerged in Middle East and it originated in Saudi Arabia. And the death was also not much, not like this one, but the fatality rate again was very high. So 858 people died total. And this one, COVID, everybody knows it's called COVID, coronavirus disease, the full form, and it's 19 because it originated in 2019. It's severe acute respiratory syndrome. So the first one also in 2002 also, it was like, because it affects the respiratory system, that's why it's called severe acute respiratory syndrome. So the first one and the middle one is like, it's called Middle East because it originated in Middle East, and this one originated in Wuhan. So till today, almost 19 million people are infected. We have lost almost 700,000 lives across the world. And if you see as on date, as on today, the fatality rate, that is the death rate, is around 5%. It's going down because of some of the countries. So let me explain how it is spread, So what happens actually, there are animals in the jungle always, but some of the animals, they never meet in the jungle. Like bat remain in his world, camel remain in his world, camel, pangolin, civet, all these animals live differently. They never interact with each other. So what happened in case of the COVID one, that is which originated, as I mentioned, from China. So they kept in the same market. I mean, they kept bat as well as civet together, and the virus jumped from bat to civet to human body. So there is a need of intermediate host in in all the three cases to jump the virus from bat to this animal, camel, civet, pangolin, and to a human being. So as I mentioned already, that the last one, for example, the SARS-2, I mean COVID-2, the virus jumped from bat to pangolin, then it mixed, and then the virus developed and it jumped to human being. That's why 97% of strain found a strain of bat and 3% of strain from pangolin is available here. Yeah. So coming to the sign and symptoms. So these are some basic slides. So after that, we'll go to in details. I'm sure that most of you know the sign and symptoms: fever, loss of appetite, fatigue, loss of smell, shortness. These are the percentage actually. To I mean, how many? What is the percentage of people they suffer from these symptoms? Cough, coughing up sputum. So it's not only dry coughs. Many, I mean, I have seen many misinformation in different places. 1 year to come in for widespread use of vaccine, because it's not easy to send the vaccine across the world. Most of the countries are like developing countries in the world, and sending the vaccine free of cost, somebody has to fund. Definitely we have a huge funding like 2 billion now, but I mean that's also may not be enough. I mean, and those are like kept for different purposes. I will explain those also. So almost 150 ongoing clinical trials across different countries. So almost all countries are trying, even like small countries like Thailand and Malaysia. Every country is trying to come out of this. Now let me explain about WHO Solidarity Trial. So this is a trial of different medicines, actually, combination of different, there are 4 medicines basically now on which trial is going on. The trial on, malaria drug, I think almost everybody knows. And there was very controversy initially, and also India sent lots of hydroxychloroquine to USA. But WHO, after doing the clinical trial, they have stopped this use of hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine, you can say. So European Medical Association has approved the use of remdesivir. I'm sure you know the pharmaceutical Glenmark in India. So Glenmark is manufacturing this in large scale, but the issue is that remdesivir can be only used with a patient with severe symptoms, because these are very, very hard medicine. So it affects you like anything. I mean, the side effects are much higher. So preliminary result shows that remdesivir was associated with shorter medium recovery time compared to placebo. Placebo is like, as I said, it's like control and intervention. So with control group, you give the actual medicine within, actual intervention, and with the other group, you give placebo. Placebo means it's nothing. I mean, it's a fake medicine, and you see what will be the effect. But till now, statistically, the results were not shown. But still, I mean, some countries like India, US, in Singapore, UK, Japan have approved the use of remdesivir, as there is nothing to use now. So if you see this solidarity trial of WHO, then they are doing trial in, now it's now almost, I think, more than 50 countries. Initially, it was like 21 countries and 5,500 patients. So they are giving 4 different medicines to the patients who are suffering, and they want to see and compare, whether the people are recovering or not, whether the death rate, fatality rate has decreased or not. So that's, I mean, in short. So on hydroxychloroquine, I already mentioned lapinavir and ritonavir also. I mean, these 2 medicines also, the side effects are very high, and there is this is not significantly related to the cure of COVID, as well as reducing the fatality. Okay, let's come to the myth busters. So I just want to confirm, Hello, Dhruva, are you with me?
Yeah.
I am in
Yeah,
mid,
yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
mid
yes,
section. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll go with the mids. So, what happens nowadays, as soon as we receive something from in WhatsApp, immediately people, even educated people, without verifying whether it's fact or it's fiction, they just forward in group. And within minutes, it goes across, 200 countries in the world. I mean, so it's just a fraction of seconds. Now, there is social media, there is Twitter, there is Facebook, there is WhatsApp, and we have been doing this. Educated people have been doing this. So my humble request to all of you, if you have any question, go to WHO site, because that's the authority, international authority. Go to WHO site and please read what doubt you have. All the myths across, existing myths across the world, it's there in the website. Please go through and you will understand, what is true, what is not true, what is fact, what is fiction. So being able to hold your breath for 10 seconds. So people thought that if you can hold your breath for 10 seconds, you don't have corona. That's not true. I'll go a bit fast so that, we can complete on time. So mask while exercising, you should not use, because it get wet and you will feel really discomfort. Drinking alcohol does not protect you against COVID. Many people, particularly the drinkers community, they think that if they drink, because alcohol is there. Remember, let me talk about the UN response now. It's called like UN COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund. I'm sure all of you know Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General. So this fund is created for a recovery, mainly for 3 regions. Sorry, it's become one in the numbering. So to tackle the health emergency, definitely in many countries, what we are doing, like we are helping them in tracking the pandemic, like in African countries as well as in different countries. So I don't want to mention the names. And focus on the social impact and economic response and recovery. Definitely the GDP growth rate, the gross domestic product growth rate will go down. It's going down already. So I'll show you one slide in conclusion, how it is affecting the social, economic, as well as education across the countries, and help countries recover better. Definitely even after pandemic. So we are going back, as on that, you can say we are going back almost 10 to 15 years, we'll be going back of the present condition. The economy is affected like anything. So I'll show what are the projections by the human communities and, what will happen. So this is the graph from 2000 till that. So the across globe, if you see the global GDP growth rate, which is the marker actually of growth. Okay, there is a difference between growth and development. Development, we say when it's holistic, like when it includes health, when it includes education, everything. But in terms of growth, it's the world GDP growth rate is always between 2 to 4%. There is a dip, you can see this was like a global economic recession in 2008 to 2010. I'm sure that you have heard many people committed suicide during the market crash, the stock market crash in 2008, January, I think, yeah, it was 2008, January. So across the world, this recession came and many people committed suicide because they lost all their capitals. So from 2000 till that, in last 20, 21 years, you see only one dip, and that also immediately it recovered. But if you see this recession, the projection is really scary. So the worst projection, there are 2 projections by these UN bodies like IMF, International Monetary Fund, and this it's like United Nations Department for Economic and Social Affairs. So a good and bad, okay, that is optimistic and pessimistic projections they have given. And also this is like almost like 20 days back, these projections are now, this will definitely go much lower. So if you see the overall scenario, then you will understand the global GDP growth rate may go -8 to 10%, which is always like 2 to 4%. In the case of India, it's around 5 to 6%. It was, now it may be -8 to 10%. So this is this will affect everything. And that's why we have created a fund of what I have shown in this slide. This fund is of $2 billion US. It's a huge fund. And we have been, so let me come to the final slide. I think I am still on time. As I mentioned, GDP growth might go now. I mean, definitely will go 6 to 10% in different countries differently. It will affect. The Human Development Index will decline for the first time in the world. So there were so many things, but it never declined, as I mentioned earlier. The reduction in the global carbon dioxide, this is a good news across. I am sure that you might have seen many pictures of different cities showing pre-COVID and post-COVID sky, showing a blue sky, post-COVID definitely because of the lockdown effect. Lockdown, no vehicle movements, no industrial, output of carbon dioxide like that. So industrial, export-oriented industrialization may be a less viable vehicle for recovery because this became truly global village. I mean, even see, I mean, we are sitting in different countries, different places, and we are talking, is it? It's like purely global village. So sometimes one part of a vehicle is manufactured in one country, the other part in different country, and then maybe in the third country, they are shipped and they are combined, they are assembled. Even in case of mobile phones, in case of laptops, in most of the cases, this is true. But now the export is completely stopped. Most of these like flights are either like, most of them are actually cargo flight. There is for your information, if you want to know how many flights are there in the sky, you can just go. There is a radar system actually, which monitors all the flights in the sky. It's called flightradar24.com. You can Google it, flight radar. So you can see how many flights are there. So you will still find more than maybe 10,000 flights at any time in the sky. But there are definitely, and there is a concept called bubble agreement. Bubble agreement is the agreement between the two countries for flying to that particular country. For example, we have like bubble agreement with bubble air agreement, it's called. I mean, we have bubble agreement with USA, UK, France. We have, I think, around 8 to 10 countries at present. But Indian government is trying to, start the international aviation as soon as possible, maybe from 17th August. As of now, that is the date. So digitalization and digitization has increased across the world. So we are talking about, we are talking in Zoom, Google Meet. So video calling has really increased, including school also. People are, students are doing their classes online. Education become online, increasing the disparity between rich and poor. So definitely the students in the in government school, they don't have, not having access to these modern gadgets, they will suffer badly. And rich people, rich students, they will get all the facilities and they will go ahead. So the disparity is increasing. So yoga, walking, running, and exercise has increased across globe. Wherever you go now, online sessions are there. If you just Google online yoga, there are so many, across the world, there are so different agencies coming up with online yogas now. So it has increased, that's a good sign. And for the first time, all the people started talking about their immunity. So definitely nobody worried about immunity till now. So people are talking about taking vitamin C. Definitely that's a good sign. Instead of vitamin C tablets, I think people can take lemon. Lemon is high source of vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. Actually, these increases the immune system in our body. So a combination of these, particularly those who are who are in the age group of plus 50, plus 60, they can go for a multivitamin having all these vitamins. In the multivitamin, you will get almost all. So it's including B12, which is needed, C, vitamin D, and zinc. So these are called like immune booster, not other like seed of jackfruits. Definitely, jackfruit is good enough for your health, but it doesn't increase your immune system. So people across world, irrespective of religion, started believing in science. So everybody is waiting at present that when the vaccine will come. And almost across the world, I think all these temples and churches and the mosque, everything is closed. So gender, based violence has increased across the globe. Children are affected because there is no school, they can't go out of the house. Sick people, definitely, they are more vulnerable. As I said, if somebody is having medical issues, then the probability of death increases. Old population as well. So as WHO is saying at present that we might have to live with COVID-19. We must have to learn how to live. So be safe, sanitize your hand frequently. Whenever you go outside, use your mask. But again, using mask, how to use mask, there is videos in WHO site. Please go through the video. If you keep on touching your mask like this and removing and without sanitizing your hand, then the whole entire essence of wearing a mask is gone. Because why we wear mask? To protect yourself, is it? And the virus may be in the mask. That's why you should not touch the front side of, like putting below nose, up nose, up. I mean, so it's like up and down continuously. So you need to be careful how to wear a mask. Otherwise, I mean, there is no meaning of wearing a mask. That's the challenge across the country. We don't have the habit of wearing masks, and that's why people get disturbed and they don't want to. So now, the last slide. Namaskar, somebody said, I think it's like Dr. Saika said that Namaskar, Namaste. So that's become the norm across the world. It's like one civil servant is doing Namaste to me. So we are back to Indian culture. No kissing, no touching, no handshake, nothing, no hugging. So it's just, we have to confine with Namaskar. And all of you stay safe. And you have any questions, so maybe I think the coordinator will be raising the questions one by one. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Thanks for your speech. Some of this session, I would like to place vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of History. I express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Ritu Kumar Mishra for his excellent and impressive lecture, which I hope a pleasant experience for all of us. I'm also very much thankful to our Honorable Principal, Sir, Dr. Nabajyoti Das, for his encouragement through his inaugural address. And I'm really thankful to all my departmental colleagues for their support in this venture. Last but not least, I would like to thank the IQAC team of our college and Dr. Gargi Chakraborty, coordinator of IQAC, for her generous support to organize this webinar. I'm also very much thankful to Professor Dhiraj Das, Department of Computer Science, and Dhrubajyoti Kolita and Manavendra Kolita, faculty members of our college, for their technical assistance in this entire program. Dear participants, here we comes to the end of this program. Thank you very much for being with us. Stay safe and have a great evening. Thank you.